Whoa.
Hello everyone. I got a really fast solve that could have been so much better, so I wanted to do a little solve analysis for you guys. Never done a video like this before, but I feel like this solve warrants it. Let's get started. This was actually a very straightforward solve, I thought. I did yellow cross, and all the cross pieces were here in the front where I could see them. The red was already aligned with the opposite center color, and so was the orange. And then the blue and the green were also kind of opposite one another, so it was really easy to see that they would go in. Now, the thing that I didn't notice was this cross edge here was already aligned, and that kind of hurt me in the end. So the way I did the cross was L2 to put in this cross edge, and then D, L prime, R prime, D. And that finished the cross. What I somehow managed to miss was the fact that it also did an X cross and solved this front orange-blue pair. I did not see that, and I think it's just because my thumb was over it and I didn't expect it to be solved, so I didn't even look for it. The very first thing I saw was the green and orange pair. The front color was the same here, and I knew that it needed to go into the back right slot, so I did a left sledge to set them up like this, and then rotate and insert. That paired up this pair, so I did another rotation and an insertion. And then I saw that I had this F12 case that would need to go into this slot, so I rotated. And then I noticed that since I had the edges solved already, if I did a certain algorithm, it would preserve the EO. And I didn't realize that it would actually solve the entire white face. That was another shortcoming. So I did the algorithm. And now the awkward part is, I didn't think I was done with F2L at this point. I thought I still had this back right slot to go, because I didn't realize I had solved it. Since I knew that the edges would be solved, I knew that this blue edge had to be in the right spot. So I assumed that the edge was in the right spot and the corner was in the top layer. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw that this color was different than this block here, and so I had rotated and I assumed this orange was going to go down here. So I stood staring at this for a while thinking, wait a minute, this is the wrong corner. I eventually realized that the pair was already solved and I just had an A perm on the top. Man, if only I had realized that sooner, could have been a very fast time. If I had wanted to track the very first pair from inspection, obviously I noticed that this edge would end up in the right spot, because once I move the bottom layer over, I would be inserting this cross edge, which would bring this edge into the right position. It could have been possible for me to track this corner, since it's back here in the bottom layer. When I do the L2 and then the D, what it does is it pairs it up back here. This is when it got paired up, only 2 moves into the solve. And then I bring this up to match it, and once again, you have the corner already in between these 2 edges, and then I bring in this. I mean, if I knew what I was doing, it looks like an incredibly smart solution. It made me look really good, but I had no idea what I was doing. From this point, I think really the F2L was as good as it gets, frankly. I mean, obviously there were pairs that I could have done in a different order. I could have done this and paired up this, maybe inserted it into the back, and then paired up this one here. I don't know. That's not really a great solution. Nice last layer though. The key takeaway for me would have been realizing that there are no other yellow corners in the top layer or in this back slot. We know that because you can see that it's white over here, so it can't have yellow on this corner. And there are no other edges that go in the middle layer anywhere. We can see these 3 are white, and we can see that this one is white too. From this, we could at least know that the pieces are in the right slot, regardless of whether they're solved correctly or not. We know that they're at least in the right spot. And then once we rotate, we can see the blues here match up. That means it has to be solved correctly. And then obviously the A perm is easy to recognize once you know that the OLL is skipped. It just took me a really long time to realize that I had already finished F2L and OLL. The time was definitely not as fast as it could have been given the move count. There was a really large gap, and I realistically could have gotten a mid-5. Because as you can tell by watching the solve, I got to PLL at about 4.5, but it took me absolutely forever to realize that I was at PLL. Either way, that'll wrap it up for my analysis on the 616 3x3 solve, Sub-6 fail. Hopefully it won't be too long before I get my next 5. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.